Hey everybody, it's Jonny Bowden. Today I'm going to answer a question from the community that came in about eggs. Now, I know we've talked about eggs before. Wherever you're listening to me from, whatever portal it's on, you know that we have talked about eggs before because I've written about them for, my entire career as nature's most perfect food. And because I'm very involved in demystifying cholesterol and explaining to people how we got that wrong, and I wrote a book about it, The Great Cholesterol Myth, and I'm very involved in explaining eggs to people because a lot of people won't eat eggs because they have too much cholesterol. So, for many reasons, the egg situation has come up and it continues to come up. And it has actually come up recently from a lot of different directions. One is the standard one. Are they really safe to eat? They have so much cholesterol. They've got some saturated fat. Okay, that's one concern about eating eggs. But I'm also getting some questions that express a concern about the quality of the eggs they eat. They're not worried about eating eggs. They're worried about eating something that isn't organic and free range and came from a farmer that lives locally and that you can see. So they're concerned more about egg quality. And there's a third kind of direction that some of these questions are coming in from, and that is now that we don't have as much food as we used to have, or it's not as readily available, and we maybe in some places of the country don't have as much meat, for example, are eggs a good substitute for that? So let me take that one first. That's the easiest one. Eggs are a great source of protein. I don't know whether you want to call them a substitute for meat or not, but they are nature's most perfect food. And if you're just concerned about, is this a good source of protein, let's answer that one right off the bat, because the answer is yes, and there's really nothing more to say about it. It's a great, balanced, wonderful source of protein with all the essential amino acids and lots of other great things like lutein and zeaxanthin and things that are really good for your brain and your eye. And they're just a great food. Okay, now, organic versus not organic. I would always prefer to have organic and free-range eggs, always. Just like I always prefer to have grass-fed meat. But the truth is, if I had to choose between no eggs and commercially raised eggs, I would take the commercially raised eggs. Eggs are just a great food. And yes, if they're not organic, there's some disadvantages. But I don't think there are enough disadvantages to non-organic eggs to warrant not eating them, especially if your sources of protein are limited. They're just too good of a food. And to go to the first question, which is the most common question I get about eggs, this kind of the standard one about are they safe to eat with all that cholesterol, let me say in unequivocal terms, in as clear a way as I know how, eggs are perfectly fine to eat, and the cholesterol in them does not matter. I feel like that old George Bush quote where he says, "Read my lips." The cholesterol in eggs doesn't matter, folks. If that's what you're concerned about, listen to me carefully. I'm going to explain why. Cholesterol in food does not impact cholesterol in your blood. And we have known that since the 80s. Now, why don't we talk about it? Because when they first put out all of these dietary guidelines, and they wanted people to be really scared about cholesterol in their blood, they didn't think people were smart enough to make the distinction. So they said, let's just make cholesterol the bad guy. We can't explain that, if you eat it, it doesn't really matter, but if it's in your blood, it's bad. People aren't going to get that. So we'll just blanket prohibit cholesterol. In the ensuing 40 years of research, it has been shown time and time again that dietary cholesterol does not impact blood cholesterol. Okay? There's an asterisk next to that. There's a caveat, and it's this. There is a genetic condition. It's very rare. It's in less than 0.5% of the population has a genetic condition called familial hypercholesterolemia. It means basically if you look at cholesterol, your blood cholesterol goes to the sky, and this is a very specific condition, and it requires very specific treatment. And if you're not sure if you have it, you don't, because it's something your doctor would know, and you would have been diagnosed with it, and you would know about it. So if you don't have that condition, then cholesterol in the diet makes no difference to cholesterol in the blood. Now here's the punchline. Here's the part that really breaks my heart. This is the part that my work for the last 20 years has been about. Even if it did raise your cholesterol, it wouldn't matter. it wouldn't matter because cholesterol is turning out to be a lousy predictor of heart disease, and we're measuring it the wrong way. Now, that's another discussion. That's basically the thesis of our book, The Great Cholesterol Myth. It's been out since 2012. A brand new updated edition is coming out in January 2021. I hope you'll read it. It will blow the cholesterol theory out of the water. It should have died a death long ago, but it's still hanging around. But for those of you who still hear from your doctors that, oh, my cholesterol, let me just tell you this. You don't even have to argue with your doctor about the importance of cholesterol in the blood. You can let them have that antiquated belief that comes from 1950s medicine. Fine. All you have to know, and all you have to be able to show your doctor, should the occasion arise, is the copious amount of research showing that dietary cholesterol, in other words, what you eat, what you put in your mouth in terms of cholesterol in, say, shrimp or eggs, has nothing to do with your cholesterol readings from your blood. So eat all the eggs you want. There isn't a single study anywhere in the literature. If you can find one, please send it to me. I'll send you $100. There's not a single study in the literature showing that people who eat more eggs than zero have more heart attacks, have more cardiovascular disease, have more strokes, have more coronary artery disease, anything. It just doesn't exist. Now, there is one study, one published study, and it's only of one guy, but it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is pretty damn prestigious. And it was a study of a guy who ate 20 eggs a day. And guess what happened to his blood work? Nothing. Nothing. He was perfectly healthy. Now, nobody takes that kind of stuff really seriously as a scientific study because it's one person. But it was important enough to publish in the New England Journal of Medicine as a case study to show that maybe we got the egg thing wrong. Well, guess what? You got the egg thing wrong. So eat all the eggs your heart desires. There really is no danger to your cholesterol. And of course, if you can get them organic, that's preferable. That's preferable in many different foods. If you can't, I would eat them anyway. And finally, it is a wonderful source of protein and has many, many nutrients that go well and beyond just the protein. For example, the carotenoids lutein and zeaxanthin, which are wonderful for eye development. So there's a whole host of nutrients in the yolk of the egg, yes, in the yolk, that make it one of the healthiest foods in the world. And by the way, a little bit of trivia here. Everyone's worried about the saturated fat in eggs. Do you know that it's less than half of the fat in an egg is saturated? Less than half of the fat in an egg is saturated. It's not even a big source of saturated fat. And like I said, even if it was, it doesn't really matter. Eggs are great. I endorse them. I urge you to eat them. They are fine. They have gotten a clean bill of health. And this is Dr. Jonny, and I will see you on the next video.